Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is our last webinar of the month. And what we're going to be talking about today is the chapter websites. And very important part of the really keeping a good identity for your chapter. And one of the great things about it is that we actually provide you with a chapter website, a template for a website that you can then go in and customize and really make it your own if you'd like to. So that is the process we're going to be reviewing today. As I mentioned, this is part of a monthly series of webinars. We now do 10 live webinars each and every month. A lot of stuff for the member process and the app and the how to input referrals and how to use the tools and reports in the system, as well as the leadership team functions as well. As I mentioned, this is the last one of this month, but we will be posting the June and July series coming up very soon, so be sure to check your regional calendars. Before we get started, just a couple of very quick housekeeping things. Firstly, this is a live webinar, at least if you're here on the 31st of May 2017 with me today. That means that you have the extreme pleasure of being able to ask questions. I love questions, so please ask away. The best way to do that is to please type your questions in to the questions panel. I'll see those pop up on the screen and I can answer them as we're going through the material today or at the end of our presentation. Now, we are scheduled for about 30 minutes to go through the content here, and I do try to keep these to nice, short little half-hour segments so that we can be sure that you can get back on with your busy lives and not throwing too much information at you all at once. If you happen to be listening to this as a recording, you will know that we do record all of our webinars. We make them available in a couple of different places. They'll be up on YouTube. So we do have a YouTube channel, BNI Connect Global on YouTube, and you can find all the recorded content there. You can also find it by clicking the question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect. That will get you over to the support site and the Member Resource Center. You'll see all of our recorded content there, as well as another listing of all of the upcoming webinars. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started? So first things first, what are these chapter websites all about in any way, and why do we go about even making these in BNI Connect? Well, one of the reasons for it, is that for years and years and years, chapters would go and they'd go buy their own domain name, and the web designer in the chapter was showing off his skills, so he'd go and he'd make a great website for the chapter, and that would go really well for usually a fairly short period of time until that webmaster decided, wow, it's really a lot of work trying to keep up with all the new members in the chapter and chase them down for their information and then have to post it on the website and all of that. It's a lot of work. So one of the great things about BNI Connect and the BNI Connect chapter web pages is that a lot of the information is pulled automatically from BNI Connect. So, you never have to worry about, kind of the dreary parts of it, keeping the roster up to date and the speaker rotation and thank you for closed business and, where the chapter meets and what time you meet and, all of that stuff is done automatically through BNI Connect. It's actually pulling the information directly from the system. So as soon as a new member comes on board in the chapter and their application is input into BNI Connect, boom, their profile is already up on the chapter website. You don't have to do anything. So really, all you have to concentrate on when it comes to the chapter sites is the creative part of BNI Connect and the creative part of the website. So let me show you what I mean by that. Now, as I mentioned, the websites, they're part of the regional site, but it is your own identity. So if you'd like to check out what your chapter website looks like right now, the way to do that is log into BNI Connect, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a button that says Regional Website. If you click that, then we'll open in a new window, and this here is, I'm a member. I'm a member in Rhode Island, so this is our regional website here. And it has lots of information about our region and some videos and a map and stuff like that. If I go to find a chapter and I look through the chapters, my chapter is the BNI Wakefield chapter. So if I go here, this will take me to a page that just has a roster of our chapter and stuff like that. But if I go to visit this chapter website, This is our chapter's website. So it has, this is for the most part. Now, again, I'm not a web designer. I know enough to be dangerous and how to operate the system, but that creative part of it isn't my strong point. But that said, this is our chapter website. This is pretty much a default out of the box website. So very, very few changes have been made to this one, but here's what this site looks like, right? So we have, some information about what BNI and what a BNI chapter is and some default pictures. We did add our Facebook page on here, but it has the chapter speakers and on the left-hand side, our leadership. Now, all of this stuff here, as I mentioned, the meeting, the day, the time, the vice president, the director, all of that, that's all pulled automatically from BNI Connect. So the moment it changes in BNI Connect, it is changed on the website. You don't even have to republish it. It's just automatic. Same thing with the speaker rotation down here at the bottom. That is automatically updated as soon as our secretary treasurer goes in and updates the speaker rotation. It is automatically updated on the website. Now, the thank you for closed business, that is also automatically updated, although that's only done on a monthly basis. It's taking the last 12 months, last 12 closed months. So actually, this number will be updated tomorrow. All right, but there's other pages here. We have our Meet Our Members page, and this is where every single person in the chapter does have a profile. So, for example, if I just go to my profile, the nice thing about it is once people update their profile by logging into BNI Connect, this is all updated automatically. So you don't have to basically enter the information as the webmaster. It will be updated just when they go and update their profile. We also have a couple other pages, a thing called the BNI news feed if you want to use something like that, and also a chapter news feed. All right, so that's a fairly default chapter website. Let's take a look at a couple of other ones out there. I'm going to do a search for the BNI Rugby chapter. The BNI Rugby chapter, they're in the UK. They're in the Warwickshire region of the UK. And they've done a couple of neat things with their website as well. So they chose to go with kind of a long, content-rich website here. Tons of videos and links to click on and a Google map that apparently seems to be broken at the moment. But all of this stuff they've added to their website. So, I mean, keep in mind, this is kind of a default chapter website here. So this is what it looks like kind of out of the box. And this is what they've done with their site. So it really does allow you a lot more creative control over what you want to do. But a lot of the contents are the same. Again, we have our leadership team and our chapter count and meeting location. We also have our chapter members page. Again, they decided to put a little header up here, and they have all of the chapter members. They've also activated their gallery, which allows them to put things like, member presentations, and they could put pictures up with showing their various members giving presentations. And of course, there's the news feed as well that they've activated by turning it into kind of a blog. So that's one idea. You can see also they put this, all the social media, they put a button or a fold out here over on the left-hand side, and then they also have it up in the upper right-hand corner. All right, so that's one example. Let me just show you one more example. The Golden Ideas BNI chapter. They're in San Francisco, I believe. And here we have the Golden Ideas chapter. And what they've gone with, this one's closer to a default website, but they've managed to put in some extra pictures in here. They have a little thing, a message from our current president. If you click it, it then shows the president. They have a link to be able to visit their chapter. They changed some of the default imagery here and things like that. Of course, they have the chapter members page as well. And they've done a cool thing up in here where they have, and this is done not automatically, they did this themselves, but they broke their chapter into, power teams, business to business power team, and it lists the members that way. So just, again, interesting things that you can do with your chapter website. So, How do you make these changes to your chapter website? Well, that's done in BNI Connect. So this is a tool that is on the inside of BNI Connect. All we have to do is log in. Now, in order to be able to update the chapter websites, you need to have one of a couple of things. Either A, most of the time the leadership team will have access to update the web page. So that means if you're the president, the vice president, the secretary treasurer, or if you're a director, consultant, or ambassador, more than likely you have the permissions needed to get into the chapter website editor. If not, you can be assigned as what's called the chapter webmaster. Now that's something that your regional office will have to do. So either your executive director, your regional admin, your director consultant, they can help get you activated as the chapter webmaster. All you have to do is get in touch with them and they can do that. Now, assuming you have the permission, what you'll see along the top here, we have all these different menus along the top. The place that we go to update the websites is under the Tools menu. So if you go to Tools and then we go to CMS, what you should see under there is Chapter Websites. So Tools, CMS, Chapter Websites. Now, once we get into here, what it's going to show us is it's going to show us all of the chapters that you have access to. So in my case, I happen to be an administrator, so I see all 9 chapters in Antarctica here. However, when you log in, more than likely, if you're just a chapter webmaster for one chapter, for example, you would probably only see one thing in the list. So it's going to show us the site name. Now, again, these are, they're template driven, so they get automatically created when your chapter is launched. So this one was actually, I just created it right before we got on the call today. So it's a nice, fresh, out-of-the-box website. But we can see our website is actually, it's antarcticreferrals.com/Shiver Region BNI Burr. So that is our current chapter website location and name. Under the Options tab, I can click this little edit icon. And now this will allow us into the back end of our web page. So let's go through on a little tour of what this layout is all about. So first things first, what we'll see here is the pages. So these are all the different pages. And then we have the tabs along the top that bring us into different areas of the back end of the system. So the pages are all of the chapter pages. And down here, you'll see that we also have 2 things, what's called a preview URL and a live URL. Now, what the big difference is here is that when you're working on your chapter website, what you're actually working on is a back-end copy of the website. And that's what the preview site is it's the working copy of the website. Now, the changes that you're making, nobody else can see until you decide to make them public by publishing. So let me show you what I mean. Here we have the preview URL, and you'll notice it's just has a big long name, preview sites and things like that. And this is what our website looks like right now. And what we'll see here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this page out. By the way, if you go into preview or you go into edit or anything like that, keep in mind that it is going to open up in another tab or in another window. So if nothing happens, make sure that you've got your pop-up blocker turned off. But when we're looking at our chapter site here, you'll notice that here we have the pages, and it's showing us the different pages that are on our site. So for example, we have the home page, and this is the home page. We have our chapter members page. Right? We have our chapter members page, right? We also have the different sub pages. That's what that little chevron greater than symbol is, showing us that we have sub pages. So if I was to click on a member name like Adam Sandler here, this is Adam Sandler's member details page, right? So that's the member details page. Then the chapter details subpage. So if I clicked on the name of the chapter, we have our chapter details subpage. And then we have the send message. So if I go back, there's this send message page that would allow me to send a message to Adam Sandler. So there's different parts of all of these pages that you can update. You'll also notice that there's a gallery and a news page. So we see up here, though, we have our home page, chapter member, and the news page, but we don't have the gallery page. And that's because right now what we'll see is the gallery page, we have the option to show it, whereas the news page, we have the option to hide it. So if I was to go in and show my gallery page, are you sure you wish to show this page? Yes, I do. And now if I go back to my preview site, we'll see that we have the 4 pages here: home, chapter members, gallery, and news. So we do have a question here from Susan. Susan says, can we add pages? Unfortunately, right now, we are limited to the number of pages that are in the system now. So that said, you can repurpose the pages. So, you don't have to use this as a news. You can even rename it, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes. But right now, we can't add any pages. That's something that is being considered. We are going to be updating this functionality, by the way, in a couple of months. So really towards the end of the year, this is going to be an entirely updated system. They'll be mobile friendly. And in that one, I don't know if a decision has been made yet, but there might be the possibility that additional pages will be available at that time. Does that answer your question, Susan? All right, so now here's the other thing when it comes to the preview page and the live page. So you'll see if I go to this preview page, the gallery page is now available. However, remember that changes don't happen until I've published. So if I go to the live page, this is what the rest of the world sees. The gallery page still is not showing, and that's because I have to publish my changes first. So since I'm showing that page, I need to go and click this publish button in order to make my changes visible. All right, so once I've published it, if I now go back to my live site, now the rest of the world can see all of those changes. All right, before I get into some of the other stuff like editing content, I just want to show you the rest of these tabs here along the top. So the next tab is the library tab. So one of the things that you're probably going to want to do as soon as you get started editing is you're going to want to add pictures to your website, whether they're pictures of your chapter, whether they're pictures of your members, pictures of presentations, whatever it is. You may want to add those images. In order to show them on the web pages, you will need to get them onto the BNI Connect servers, and we do that by uploading images into the library. It's very easy to do. Just click the upload button, and that's going to allow you to browse your computer using that magnifying glass, and here I can find any appropriate pictures that I might want to use. So I'm just going to grab this BNI Connect and the BNI Connect training and maybe this Get Connected, Stay Connected logo. So you can multi-select and grab a couple at a time. And now these are all uploaded into the library. So I'll be able to use those pictures on the web page. You can also upload and link to documents like PDF files and things like that if you want to make those available for people to download. Now, just showing the age of this technology, it does offer Flash objects to be uploaded. I do not recommend uploading any Flash objects. Very few people use Flash anymore, so I would leave that one alone. So Steve just asked, are the current sites not mobile friendly? And the answer to that is correct. It is not currently mobile friendly. That is something that is in the upcoming revision that we're getting a little bit later this year. So, all right. Mike says, where do I go to add pictures to our website? So again, the first step before we even go in and add them to the website is you have to get them up into the library. So first things first, go to the library, click upload at the bottom. You're then going to click this magnifying glass, and here is where you can get pictures and upload them into the library. In just a second, I'm going to show you how to actually put them on to the page itself. Does that help, Mike? All right, awesome. So that's getting stuff into the library. Now, the next page over, that's the site information tab. Now, you're not really going to do anything with this page. You really want to leave this mostly alone, except for one thing. And that is up here, it says the chapter folder name. Now, you probably want to put a friendly name in here. As I mentioned, these are created automatically by the system, so it uses a formula to generate the site. It's going to put in, the name of the region and the name of the chapter, and it's going to replace any, invalid characters with dashes. So that means that this is kind of a ridiculously long name to tell somebody to go to our website. Oh yeah, go to antarcticreferrals.com/shiver-region-bni-BR. Right, that's a mouthful. So we can update that chapter folder name to maybe just be the BRRR chapter. So now we are the BR chapter. So now we can tell people, hey, go to antarcticreferrals.com/BR, and they'll be able to get to our website a little bit easier that way. And again, the rest of the stuff you kind of want to leave exactly the way it is, because these are really the verbiage on the buttons. We try to keep some consistency between all the sites there. Now at the bottom, if you are using something like Google Analytics or any other type of web tracking software, you can put that JavaScript code into that as well. Again, that's something that you would, most of them are free. You can sign up for that yourself if you'd like to track who's clicking on what and how long they're staying. Now, if you've enabled the gallery will be here as well. The gallery is really, it's kind of more of a special page in that it's meant to be a picture gallery so that you can organize photo albums of your chapter. Now, do you have to use it for that? No, you can play with the header and the footer and make it into a different type of a page, but you can upload basically pictures. It works very similar to the library, except it's going to allow you to organize them into basically folders up on the site. So I can add an album. I can call this, I don't know, BNI logos or something like that. Logos of our members. And from there, I can then fill up that album with photographs. So I can go in and manage photos. And of course, we'll be able to add photos. Now, unlike with the library, you can only upload photos one at a time here because we have to give a title to each one. So we can upload them, give them a title, and then that will appear in our gallery. All right, so if I go back, let me just publish this real quick. I go back to my live site here. And again, now we have our gallery. It has BNI logos, and it has our picture in there. All right, so that is the grand tour of the outside of the system. Oh, Steve had a quick question before I go much further. Steve says, on the San Francisco site you showed, the URL was just bnisanfrancisco.com. So actually, let me just go back there. So bnisanfrancisco.com is actually the regional website. So this is their region of San Francisco West Bay. And if I go to their chapters, for example, and this was their Golden Ideas chapter, go to their website. Theirs is actually sanfrancisco.com/golden ideas. So the executive director, they're going to own and register the domain sanfrancisco.com, and you get to have a free page under there. Now, if your chapter has already registered a name, and by the way, we do not recommend going and buying a domain name. If you feel strongly that your chapter should have its own identity, please talk to your executive director. That said, if you already own one, you can always create an A record in order to point it to this URL. And that way you can keep your vanity name, so to speak, your chapter name, your chapter website name, and point it to the BNI Connect site. So does that answer your question, Steve? All right, so let's take a quick look at modifying. Now, modifying the website, if you have ever edited a Word document, you have the basic skill set to go in and edit your chapter webpage. The basics of it are really, really very easy. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit Content here on the home page, and let's go in and take a look at what we can do with our home page. Now, if you have advanced programming knowledge, you are a web designer by trade, keep in mind you can go directly to the source button if you feel more comfortable programming this in code. I do want to say if you're using a third-party system, be very careful copying and pasting code in. There are definitely inconsistencies between various websites. People have broken their websites this way, and we've had to basically delete them and lose all their changes and revert them back to defaults. But that said, you can go directly into the HTML code. But most of us, we will be sitting here on the front end or the WYSIWYG side. What you see is what you get. And as I said, really, the most of this is going to be editing a Word document. Now, you'll notice that we're really only working in this central area here. All the stuff on the left here, we can't make any changes over here. Same thing for the chapter speakers down here at the bottom. We can't really do anything with that part of it either. Now, the reason for that is, again, that is the dynamic content. That's being pulled automatically from BNI Connect. So it's this kind of static content that we can change. So most of these buttons are typical functions you'd find in a Word editor. So for example, I can highlight stuff and make it bold or italic or underline it. And I can change the font size here to make it bigger or smaller. I can change the text color to green and make the background red. Nice and Christmassy there. I can do things like add numbered lists. 1, 2, 3, right? Fonts and styles and lines and things like that. I mean, really, it's fairly basic from that creative standpoint. So some things that you may do differently here, though, that's different than a Word document. First thing is that you may want to put those pictures in. Mike, this is what you were asking about before. How do I put a picture into my website? So you do that. Again, first you have to get it up into the library in the previous screen. So first things first, get it into the library. Once it's in the library, I can kind of pick where I want to put it. Let's say I'm going to put it right here. I then click this image button. This will allow me to browse the server. If I click this browse server button, this will show me all of the pictures that are uploaded in the system. Now we have some stock imagery here. But let's say I wanted to grab this BNI Connect training photo that I uploaded before. I now have this on here, and okay, I put the image in there. All right, if you want it to be bigger or smaller, I can go back in, click the image button. I can change, let's say I want this only to be 400 width. I can make it smaller. So you do have some flexibility there. Another thing that you might want to do is to create hyperlinks to other websites, other pages, other areas. So let's say I wanted to, let's say, go to our YouTube channel, right? And I want, if somebody clicks on YouTube channel, I want them to go to a YouTube channel. So I would highlight what I want to be underlined, click the link button, which kind of looks like a chain link, and put in the site that I want them to go to. So youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Okay, so it now becomes blue and underlined, and if anybody goes and clicks on that, it will take them over to our YouTube channel. You can also hyperlink pictures, just so you know. So if you ever wanted to do that, you can. Now, some of the rest of these buttons up here are they're proprietary. They're going to be programming buttons like creating forms and links and things like that. That is much more advanced, above my pay grade and what I'll be able to cover in this very basic session today. All right, once you've made your changes and you're happy with them, go ahead and click the Save button and we'll see our gorgeous new changes. And of course, if I go back, I'm going to go visit our new website and, oh, hold on a second. I forgot to publish it. Let me go ahead and click that publish button. And now the whole world can see my gorgeous new website. Now, the other pages, by the way, you have different levels of what you'll be able to change. Like, for example, the member details page, that one has, a lot of automatic content. So if I go to edit content here, you'll see it actually has two sections for editing, which is going to be editing the header. So this is the header. And I could also edit stuff in this is the footer. But you can do the same things. You can add pictures at the top or the bottom like we saw in some of the other things, some of the other sites that we looked at. And of course, I can save this, close it, and if I was to go and publish and view our page, so that was on the member page. So if I go and look at a member, now we have a custom footer down here and we have a custom header up here. So again, you can make a lot of these pages your own in order to promote your own chapter. All right, we are at the bottom of the hour, so what I want to do is to basically open this up for questions. Again, I try to keep the content to only a half hour, so if anybody needs to get on to that next appointment, return those phone calls and the 100 emails that you got in the last half hour, I completely understand. But that said, this is what I do all day, every day, as I answer questions about BNI Connect, and I'm happy to answer them for you now. So anything you want to know, please, absolutely, ask away. Susan says, how do you add the social media buttons? So for that, you do need to do a little bit more, that's more of an advanced technique. But what you need to do is you need to go and get the code from Facebook. And you basically need to get the code for the widget that you're going to put into the page. So the easiest thing to do, believe it or not, is just, Facebook widget for website, right? Social plugins, and this will take you to wherever they've moved the page to nowadays. But here we can do, embedded posts or the page plugin. You pick what kind of button you want to have here. The like button, for example, for web. And you do need to customize. You got to put in the URL, which is going to be your chapter URL. What that's going to do then is it's going to generate code for you. Now, you really don't need to know kind of how it works. All you really need to do is to grab the code and put it into the source code for your website. So if I wanted to appear at the top of the page, I could go into the source code, paste it. Oh, you know what? I didn't copy all of the source code in. They have a special set of source code here that you have to have in there as well. Let me go back and put that in. So save it. And I should now have that on the page when I go back to it. So there it is, like and share. It now put that like button onto my page. So again, you have to customize that a little bit for your own. It works the same way like with videos and things like that. So let's say that you have a video on YouTube or even on Facebook. So let's say that I wanted to put one of my BNI Connect, let's say this mobile app video. I want to embed this on our page so we can share that. So what I would do is go to share, but I don't want to put the link. What I want to use is the embed code. And again, you don't really have to know how it works. You're just going to copy it. I'm going to go back to the edit page for my website. Just to make this interesting, I'm going to put this on the chapter members page. Again, I can't just paste it here. I've got to go into the source code. And then when I go back, I'll see this little holder for it. But when I go, I'm going to publish. And when I go to my chapter members page, there's the video now embedded at the top of my page. So Susan, does that help? And it works that way with tons of different things. And they make other sharing buttons, and there's sites that are dedicated to this. So I think Steve just dropped a link on us here, and he says that there's a great floating share button. So add2any.com is the site here. So again, these are all just different snippets of code that you can go and drop into the code of your website. So again, a little bit more of an advanced technique, but it's definitely possible to do. So Susan, yes, if you need to revisit, that's perfectly fine. The best thing to do is to submit a support ticket. So that would be the best way to get in touch with us. If you go to our support site, you can either just click this question mark in the upper right-hand corner. That'll take you to our support site. We have tons of walkthroughs and everything here, but up at the top you should see a thing that says submit a request. This will allow you to submit a support ticket, and somebody from the support team here will be able to get back to you. All right, Steve says, with the overhaul update later this year, will there be a new, hopefully more modern overall design? Yes. Yes, there absolutely will be. Actually, if you go to the BNI.com site, that it's going to be more similar to the look and feel of BNI.com as that is right now. So they are in the process of designing those upcoming templates literally as we speak. So we are making progress on that, and we're hopefully we'll get something a little bit later this year. Steve says, will that design then push down to the sites automatically, or will we have to go in and redo the site to get the new look? So what will happen is, as soon as your executive director makes the decision to go with the new design, because they will be in parallel for a while until they've made all the changes to the regional site and things like that. Once they've made the decision to switch over to the new design, all of the chapter sites will be that new design. Now you will have to redo your content in this new system once it has been pushed out that way. So it is there will be you're gonna have to customize it all over again, is what I'm telling you, Steve. So I wouldn't put tons and tons of work into this chapter website right now, knowing that we're still probably 5-6 months away, if not longer, if your executive director takes a little bit longer to get that done. So it could be anywhere from 6 months to a year. Does that help, Steve? Does that make sense? So yeah, I mean, as far as level of effort, I would do some very basic things. At least get your look and feel up to a current level, maybe with some current events and things like that. But I wouldn't go too crazy quite yet. I would wait for the new design to come out. Again, anywhere from 6 months to a year. All right. What other questions do we have? Any other questions? Questions, comments, concerns, compliments, criticisms. All right. So thank you guys so much for being here today. And I do recognize a couple of names like Andrea, that you guys have been here for every single webinar this month. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me. I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar, a good referral for me. When that new schedule comes out in a couple of days, please share it with your members, share it with your chapters. That would be a good referral. Before I hang up, Leland had a last minute question here. Leland says, I'm a member of a BNI chapter in Connecticut. Can we change the name of Meet Our Members versus chapter members? Yes, absolutely. So here you'll see under options, you have edit name. So instead of home page, this could be, about us, right? Or instead of chapter members, it could be meet our members. So yes, kind of whatever you want to do there, you can change that. That will change these button names up here at the top. So Mike says, how do I link to our WordPress site, BNI Success Unlimited? So, well, it depends what you're asking to do there, Mike. Do you want, when people go to BNI Success Unlimited, do you want them to go to your WordPress site, or do you want them to instead come over to the BNI Connect site? If you want them to come over to the BNI Connect site instead, what you're going to have to do is go into your domain, your DNS entries, and repoint the record. To get it over to your WordPress site from here, there's no automatic way to do that. What you would have to do is basically go in and customize this site and just put a link on that site that says, please visit our chapter website here, and have a link to it. So, but I would definitely talk to your executive director about that process. All right, so any other questions? All right, well, on that note, once again, thank you again for your time today. Look for the new schedule in a couple of days, and happy connecting.